Not every cruise deserves your money. Some look cheap until the add-ons hit. Some look premium until service disappoints. And some only work for one specific traveler. Today, we're breaking down the cruises to avoid and the 3 worth booking. Number 1. Avoid the too cheap weekend party cruise. The first cruise to be careful with is the one that looks so cheap it almost feels like a mistake. You see a 3-night sailing for a price that barely looks real. Maybe it's a quick Bahamas trip on an older ship. At first, it sounds perfect. A few nights at sea, a tropical stop, no airport stress, and a price that feels easier than booking a basic hotel. But this is where many cruisers learn the hard way that cheap does not always mean good value. The problem with these short bargain cruises is not only the ship, it's the atmosphere. A 2, 3, or 4-night sailing often attracts a different crowd from a longer cruise. You're not always getting travelers who want peace. You may be getting people who want a floating weekend party, and that changes the whole mood on board. The pool deck can feel louder, the bars can feel busier, and if the ship is older, the experience may feel less polished before you even factor in the crowd. Now, this can still work if that is what you want. If you're going with friends, want loud music, and don't care about quiet lounges, fine. But if you expect calm mornings, better food, soft service, and a relaxing cruise from start to finish, this is often the wrong place to start. And the other trap is the final bill. That low fare may not include drinks, Wi-Fi, specialty dining, gratuities, excursions, photos, casino spending, or a better cabin location. So the price that pulled you in may not be the price you actually pay. If you want a calm, comfortable cruise, be careful with the cheapest short sailings on older ships. Sometimes the real cost is not just money, it's the noise and stress. Number 2. Avoid Margaritaville at sea if you want a real full cruise. Margaritaville at sea is not automatically a bad idea. It has a clear identity: casual, playful, beachy, and built around a quick escape. If all you want is a short, themed getaway with music, drinks, and an easy island mood, then it may give you exactly what you booked. But the problem begins when people expect it to feel like a full cruise vacation. This is not the line I would choose for an anniversary trip, a major family celebration, or someone's first real cruise. It's better viewed as a quick, branded getaway than a complete cruise experience. A true full cruise experience usually gives you wider dining, stronger entertainment, more polished service, better ship design, more itinerary depth, and that feeling that the ship itself is part of the destination. On a stronger cruise line, a sea day can move from breakfast to a lounge, a pool deck, a show, a specialty dinner, and a late-night walk without feeling like you've run out of ship. With Margaritaville at sea, the expectations need to be lower and more specific. You're not booking it because it's the best cruise line in the market. You're booking it because it's quick, casual, and themed. And that may be enough for some travelers, but it can disappoint anyone expecting celebrity smoothness, Royal Caribbean scale, or Viking destination depth. So avoid this one if you want a premium experience, a polished milestone trip, or a first cruise that makes you fall in love with cruising. It may be fun for the right traveler, but if you book it expecting a floating luxury resort, the disappointment may start before the ship even leaves port. Number 3. Avoid MSC if you hate crowds and European-style service. MSC is one of the most misunderstood cruise lines in the American market. Some people book it and love the price, the ship design, and the international feel. Others step on board and spend the whole trip asking why the service feels different, why communication feels less personal, and why everything does not operate the way they expected. That's why MSC is not always a bad cruise line, it's often a mismatched cruise line. If you're used to American-style service, where staff are constantly checking in, explaining, guiding, and making sure you feel noticed, MSC may feel colder, Not rude exactly, just different. The rhythm can be more European. The passenger mix can be more international. Announcements may feel less simple. Dining may not always move at the pace you expect. Guest services may feel crowded, and on big ships, the public areas can fill quickly. For a flexible traveler, this may not matter. You may enjoy the lower fares and accept that the service culture is different. But for a nervous first-time cruiser, a senior traveler who wants clear help, or someone who gets irritated when things are not explained quickly, MSC can become frustrating. The danger is not that MSC is unsafe or unstable. The danger is booking it with the wrong expectations. If you choose MSC only because the price is lower than Royal Caribbean or Celebrity, you may miss the reason the price is lower. You may get a beautiful ship, but not the same service polish. You may save money, but spend the week annoyed by smaller things. So avoid MSC if you need hand-holding, calm spaces, consistent service, and a cruise experience designed mainly around American expectations. MSC can be a good deal, but only if you know exactly what kind of deal you're making. Number 4. Avoid Norwegian if you hate complicated pricing. Norwegian Cruise Line can be a lot of fun. The ships are casual, the dining is flexible, the entertainment can be strong, and the freestyle idea works well for passengers who do not want strict dining times or formal routines. If you like making your own schedule, Norwegian can feel much freer than old-school cruising. But this is also the line I would be careful with if you hate complicated pricing. Norwegian often looks attractive because the promotions sound generous. You may see offers tied to free drinks, dining, Wi-Fi, excursions, or other perks, and at first glance, it feels like you're getting a lot included. But once you start building the real vacation, the math can feel less simple. There may be gratuities attached to packages. Specialty dining may still have limits. Wi-Fi may not cover what you think it covers. Shore excursion credits may not go as far as you expected. Better cabins cost more. Certain restaurants cost more. And before long, the cruise that looked like a clean deal becomes a collection of decisions. That does not mean Norwegian is bad. It means Norwegian's not always the best line for someone who wants one simple number and no mental accounting. Some travelers enjoy choosing packages, comparing deals, booking dining, managing reservations, and building the trip piece by piece. Others find it exhausting. They just want to pay once and stop thinking about what's included. If that's you, Norwegian may irritate you more than it relaxes you. So avoid Norwegian if you dislike add-ons, package rules, reservation pressure, and fine print. For the right traveler, it is flexible. For the wrong traveler, it feels like a vacation with homework. Number 5. Avoid Carnival if you want quiet luxury. Carnival has a loyal audience for a reason. It's affordable, energetic, casual, and easy to understand. Families like it. Friend groups like it. First-time cruisers like it because the vibe is not intimidating. You can show up, eat, laugh, swim, and enjoy a simple vacation. But that same strength is also a warning. Carnival is not the cruise line to book if your dream vacation is quiet luxury. If you want soft music, calm lounges, elegant dining, restrained pool decks, and an adult atmosphere, Carnival may feel too loud, too casual, and too crowded, especially on shorter sailings and older ships. This is where many disappointed passengers make the same mistake. They book Carnival because the price is attractive, but they judge the experience against a more premium line. Then they're shocked when the atmosphere feels more casual than refined. And that's not really fair to Carnival. Carnival knows what it is. It leans into energy, affordability, comedy, casual food, pool games, families, music, and a very social onboard mood. For many people, that is exactly the point. But if you're a couple looking for a peaceful anniversary, a senior traveler who wants quiet service, or someone overwhelmed by crowds, the wrong Carnival ship can feel like a poor match from day one. The key is not to avoid every Carnival cruise forever. The key is to avoid the wrong Carnival cruise for your personality. Be extra careful with short sailings, older ships, spring break timing, and bargain fares. If you do choose Carnival, look at newer ships, longer itineraries, and cabin locations away from noise. Carnival can deliver a fun vacation, but if you book it expecting celebrity energy at Carnival prices, the problem is not just the line, it's the expectation. Number 6. Avoid Costa if you expect an American cruise. Costa Cruises can be a strange experience for American passengers who book it without understanding what they're getting. This is a European-style cruise line. That affects the food, the service rhythm, the passenger mix, the entertainment, the announcements, the onboard culture, and even the way people move through the ship. For some travelers, that's exciting. They want something more international. They're comfortable hearing multiple languages, eating later, adjusting to a different service style, and accepting that the ship may not be built around U.S. habits. But for other passengers, Costa can feel confusing almost immediately. They may expect English-first communication, American dining patterns, familiar service warmth, and entertainment designed for their taste. When that does not happen, they call the cruise disorganized, when the truth may be that they booked a cruise culture they didn't understand. And that's why Costa belongs on an avoid list for certain travelers. Not because every Costa cruise is terrible, but because it can be a poor fit if you want the standard American big ship experience. If you want predictable meals, familiar menus, easy communication, clear service, and a ship built around U.S. expectations, Costa may not be the right choice. The price may look tempting, especially in Europe, but the savings may not matter if you spend the whole vacation feeling out of place. This is especially important for first-time cruisers. Your first cruise shapes how you feel about cruising as a whole. If you choose a line that does not match your expectations, you may blame cruising when the real issue was fit. So avoid Costa if you want an American-style cruise with American-style service. But if you're open to a more European rhythm, it may not bother you at all. Sometimes it's not the cruise. It's booking the wrong culture. Number 7. Avoid older ships marketed like new luxury. This may be the most important warning in the whole video. Sometimes the cruise line is not the problem. The ship is. Many travelers book the brand name only. They hear Royal Caribbean, Princess, Carnival, Norwegian, Celebrity, or Holland America, and they assume every ship under that logo gives the same experience. That is a mistake. A cruise line can have impressive new ships and tired old ships in the same fleet. One ship may feel modern, open, bright, and full of dining options. Another ship from the same brand may feel smaller, darker, more crowded, and limited by an older layout. The marketing may still show smiling people, blue water, and perfect sunsets, but once you board, you may notice the difference fast. Older ships can have smaller cabins, fewer restaurants, tighter pool decks, weaker entertainment spaces, older bathrooms, dated decor, fewer balcony options, and layouts that don't handle crowds as well. They may still be clean, safe, and well run, but they may not feel anything like the new ships used in the commercials. This is where the phrase "avoid at all costs" really applies. Avoid any older ship being sold to you like it's a new luxury experience. Now, that does not mean every older ship is bad. Some are charming, some are perfect for smaller ports and quieter itineraries, but you need to know what you're buying. Before you book, check the ship's age. Check the last refurbishment. Look at recent passenger reviews, not reviews from 8 years ago. Study the deck plan. Look at dining options. Look at cabin photos from actual passengers. And compare the specific ship, not just the cruise line. Do not ask only, which cruise line is it? Ask, which ship am I actually sleeping on? That one question can save the entire trip. Number 8. Worth it. Royal Caribbean for families and big ship energy. Now let's talk about the cruise lines that are actually worth it. The first is Royal Caribbean, especially if you want a big, active, modern cruise with plenty to do. Royal Caribbean is not perfect. The biggest ships can be expensive. They can feel crowded. Some extras cost more than you may expect. And if you want a quiet, intimate, old-world cruise, this is probably not your best match. But for families, first-time cruisers, multi-generation groups, and travelers who want the ship itself to be a major part of the vacation, Royal Caribbean is one of the strongest choices. You want big shows. You want pools. You want activities. You want casual food, specialty restaurants, private island stops, kids spaces, teen spaces, adult spaces, and enough happening on board that a sea day does not feel empty. That matters because the best cruise line for many people is not the quietest or most elegant one. It's the one that keeps everyone happy. The key is choosing the right ship. A newer Royal Caribbean ship can feel like a full resort at sea, while an older one may not deliver the same wow factor. So if you want Royal Caribbean at its best, don't just pick the cheapest sailing. Choose the ship carefully. Study what's on board and decide whether you want the biggest possible experience or a slightly smaller, easier one. Royal Caribbean is worth it when you want energy, variety, and a ship that does a lot of the work for you. It's not calm, but it's capable. Number 9. Worth it. Celebrity cruises for adults who want better quality. Celebrity Cruises is the line I would recommend to many adults who want something nicer without going all the way into ultra luxury pricing. It sits in a useful middle space. It's more refined than the loudest mainstream lines, but it still feels like a real cruise. It just feels calmer, cleaner, and more adult. That makes Celebrity a strong choice for couples, older travelers, food-focused cruisers, and people who want better design without a ship that feels stiff. The biggest difference is atmosphere. On Celebrity, the volume is usually lower. The design feels more polished. The food often feels more thoughtful. The public spaces feel less like a floating amusement park and more like a stylish hotel at sea. That does not mean every sailing is perfect. Celebrity can be expensive, especially once you start looking at upgraded cabins, drink packages, specialty dining, and newer ships. It may also feel too quiet for passengers who want constant action, slides, games, and loud pool energy. But for the traveler who wants a cruise to feel comfortable, adult, and a little more elevated, Celebrity is one of the safest bets. It's especially useful for people who tried a cheaper mainstream cruise and thought, I like cruising, but I wish it were calmer. That is exactly where Celebrity fits. You're not paying only for nicer spaces. You're paying for a different onboard mood. Dinner feels less rushed. The ship feels more composed. And you're less likely to feel trapped inside someone else's party. So if Carnival feels too loud, MSC feels too inconsistent, and Royal Caribbean feels too busy, Celebrity may be the upgrade that makes cruising click. It's not the cheapest answer, but for many adults, it's the right one. Number 10. Worth it. Viking, for quiet, adult, destination-focused cruising. The final cruise line worth considering is Viking, but only if you understand what Viking is. This is not the line for water slides, casinos, pool games, children running through the buffet, or a ship that feels like a floating theme park. Viking is for travelers who want calm, culture, good food, smart itineraries, and an adult atmosphere. This is why it works so well for the right person. Viking is adults only, which changes the entire rhythm on board. The ship feels quieter. The spaces feel more civilized. The focus is more on destinations, lectures, excursions, dining, and the adult experience of travel, rather than nonstop entertainment. For some people, That may sound boring, but for others, it sounds like exactly what cruising should have been all along. Viking is especially strong for travelers who want to see places, not just ride the ship. It works well for couples, retired travelers, culture-focused passengers, and anyone who prefers a calm day over a crowded pool deck. The value also feels different. Viking is not usually the cheapest fare on the screen, but the experience can feel more complete because the line is built around a quieter, more inclusive, less chaotic style of cruising. Viking is not for everyone. If you want nightlife, young crowds, high-energy entertainment, giant water parks, or constant stimulation, you may feel underwhelmed, but that is exactly why its fans love it. It knows what it is. So if your dream cruise is peaceful mornings, good coffee, thoughtful excursions, clean design, strong service, and no kid-centered chaos, Viking may be the line that finally makes cruising feel right. It's not the loudest choice, it's the calmest, and sometimes that is worth more. The wrong cruise line can make a vacation feel crowded, noisy, and overpriced. The right one makes everything easier before you even unpack. So don't chase only the cheapest fare. Match the ship to the trip you actually want. Like, subscribe, and watch the next video on screen, because your voyage is just beginning.